Hello my friends, how you doing? This is Coffee Chug and I'm here with another tutorial, another guide to help you kind of learn and brush up your scratch skills. In this case, we're going to be creating a spiral level, a maze of sorts. So I have created some other games you can see in the show notes of how to level up through different kind of mazes, and this one is going to just bring another dimension to your building in terms of getting a spiral that you're going to create that's going to spin, and then your challenge is to scale it up to new levels, new different kind of designs and platforms, and to see what it is that we can do. So let's dive into this action. Let's not delay the fun here that we're going to have in our design and in our making. And so what I want to do here is I want to go through and we're going to get rid of this cat here to begin. I'm going to just pick an animal here. Let's see. Let's pick I'm gonna pick something that's somewhat kind of round here, maybe. You know, I'm gonna pick this starfish because I like a basketball. All right, so we've got our designs here. And then our next thing we're going to do, we have our starfish. That's going to be our character in the game. We have our basketball, in which this is what the starfish is going to be going after. Now we actually have to create the maze itself. In this case, the spiral. So we're going to go to paint here. So this time we actually do have to design. And when I go in here, if I were to zoom in, on here, we have these crosshairs. This is where it's 0, 0 on our grid. So we want to start our spiral on that crosshair. It's going to be very important to make your life easier in this first build. So I'm going to pick my color. I'm going to go with this magenta color here that I've picked, and our paintbrush is going to be at least 50. So I'm going to go here and I'm just going to design this spiral really quick here. And I'm going to keep it simple for the sake of this design. Okay, so we've got that. Now the last thing that I want to do is I want to change the backdrop. I just want to make it another color. So I'm going to go in here and paint, and I'm actually just going to fill this with, let's just make it black so it stands out. Oh, we got to go to bitmap here. And then I'm going to fill this in with black. Perfect. And then I can get rid of this one because I don't need it. Alright, so there we go. We got our spiral, we got our basketball, we got our starfish. Now, let's start with our apple. Or, not our apple. Let's start with our basketball. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this basketball over right to where it needs to be here, which is, I can see that it's around 33 and 30. And what I want to do is just make sure that it's sitting within that part of the spiral. So we need to test some things here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here to when the green flag is clicked. First thing we need to do is shrink this guy down because you can see he's bigger than the spiral, and we don't want that. So we're going to go into looks here, and we're going to say the set size, and let's make let's try 40 and just see what it looks like here. We can maybe go a little bit bigger. There we go. That looks a little bit better. You know what? And I wonder if I can change this color here. Let's make this, because it's hard to see the basketball. Oh, there we go. That looks way better. Okay. So, there we are. So I got my spiral. Let's go back to our basketball. All right. And we've got that at 50%. That seems to be about right. And then we also want to, let's see where it goes if we move it to 0, 0 right in the middle. I don't know if that's going to work or not, so we might have to adjust, but we'll give it a shot here and see. There's that. Okay, so we know that we want it to be right there on the right in the middle, and we'll actually move our spiral over there here in just a second. So we've got that. Now let's go to our spiral itself too. And something that is going to be important when we do this is we're going to go to events. We're going to go here and we're going to go to 0, 0, and I'm just going to do this one time. I don't always need that, but at least now I know it's going to be centered, which is exactly what I want. And I could have typed this right down here too, but I just wanted you to see a way to go about doing that. Alright, so now that I have my spiral here, something that's going to be important that can be somewhat challenging is we want to make sure that our spiral always starts at the same place every time we restart this game. What happens when you get into this design is if you run this, your spiral will not reset back to this location, which is going to make it very difficult here in a minute when our starfish starts right here at the starting point, because if it eventually starts somewhere where it's black, your game's always going to be over. So what we need to do is create some variables. Okay, so we're going to go to make a variable, and we're going to type in, you can name it whatever. I'm going to call this x, spiral x. This is the x coordinate of our spiral. We're going to make another one called spiral y. And then we're going to make one more spiral r, and this is for rotation. So we've got these three variables up here in the corner. We're actually going to uncheck all these because we don't need to see them at this point. And what we're going to do when we click, we're going to set these guys all to 0. So every time we click the green arrow, it's going to put it back. And we're going to choose spiral X, our spiral Y for our Y coordinates, and then our rotation. Just like that. Set them all there. And then we're going to make sure that our spiral goes to those positions. So we're going to go to go to, and we're going to pick spiral X, spiral Y, and then we're also going to point in the direction of spiral R. This here in just a little bit, when our spiral starts to move, will get us back to the beginning. Now, what we want to do here next is start to get this going so that it will reset itself when we begin, and then when we hit the space bar or hit a start button, it will start to create a movement pattern. So the way that we do that is we're going to go here to the spiral, and let's just say, actually, you know what, let's add one more sprite. Let's mix this up a little bit, and let's add a button. So I'm going to type in button, see what we have. Perfect. Let's do this button here. And I'm actually going to go into costume, and I'm going to type in a word here. I'm going to type in pixel start. And let's see, let's make that guy yellow. Actually, I kind of like that. Perfect. So we are going to, man, we're just mixing this up right here on the fly. I did not have this planned in the tutorial. Here we go, guys. Alright, so once we have it, when we hit the green arrow, It's going to show the start button there to begin, but we want that to trigger the beginning of the game. So once we hit the start, the spiral is going to start spiraling. We're going to have to start moving and all that good stuff. So we're going to go here to events, and we're going to click when the sprite is clicked. We're going to, let's add a sound. We're going to start a sound, and we're going to go to sounds here, and you can find any sound you want. There's tons in here. Oops. So you can go down here to choose a sound, pick whatever it is that you're looking for. It doesn't matter to me. There we go. Okay, so we'll do teleport, and then we are going to broadcast a message, and we're going to broadcast game begin, and then we are going to hide this bad boy. We don't want it sitting there the whole time. So there we go. Start. And then we should probably put a thing of instructions down here, but we'll come back to that. So let's just try this now. Perfect. So now that we have that, now we can get into the goods here. Let's go back to our spiral now. We have this set to 0 when it goes to start. It's going to get all this set. And now what we're going to do is we are going to have a broadcast command. When I receive game begin, all right, we are going to put in a forever. Actually, we're going to put a wait block in of 2 seconds. And then we're going to put in forever. And we're going to turn this bad boy. Let's just turn it 15 degrees. And we're going to put in a new variable. We can actually control the speed of this maze. So we're going to call this spiral speed. We don't need that. We can slip that right in there. So what's going to happen, we're going to have a 2-second delay so it doesn't start spinning right away so you can get your game control ready. And then it's going to be turning whatever speed our spiral speed is that many degrees. And I'll explain that here in just a second, because now we can actually have this go faster and faster every time we reach the basketball. Okay, so we got that going. We don't have any movement yet, but we're getting there. We're getting there, people. All right, so now we're going to jump over to our basketball. This is what we're after. This is what we're trying to achieve. So we have this that it's going to, when we click, it's going to set to 50% size, 0, 0 coordinates. We're in good shape. So now what we want to do is we are going to create a forever block in here. Now this is where we can put in our controls. If you have a makey, you can do makey controls. If you have a microbit, you can do your microbit controls. We're just going to stick to keyboard presses, so that way we know our program's universal. But if you make these other ones, I would love to see it. So we're going to jump right in here to this if. And if it is touching the key right here, if it's touching the right arrow, this is going to be U. Now you can change the degree of how much things move. This is where you need to dial in the game accordingly. I'm just going to change it by 1 so you can see what that looks like. And then we're also going to turn our character 15 degrees so it looks like he's pointing in that direction, staying flow kind of with the spiral, so to speak. And then we're going to create this thing all over again. So if, and this time, you guessed it, if we are using the left arrow, we're going to change our X again. But this time, we're going to change by a negative. We're going to go to the left. because the coordinates at 0, 0 right here where this basketball is, so everything this way is a negative. So we're going to change, and then we're going to want to turn our character the other direction. See our arrows going the other way? All right, you're catching on now. I can feel it through this video. All right, so we're going to go here one more if, and this time we are going to pick the up arrow. So if our key is up, what we're going to do is change our, this time not our x goes here, we're going to change our y going up and down. So we're going to scroll for y, there we go. We're going to change y by 1, and then we don't need to worry about turning on this because that's not really a turn maneuver. And we're going to go down if we press the down arrow, and then can you imagine what we're going to put in here? Change y by what? You know darn well it's going to be a -1. Alright, so we've got everything coded in here except for, you may have been wondering from the beginning, at least I hope that you were, is I actually put this code in the wrong sprite. And you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, is this dude for real? But we put this code, or this movement of controlling with the arrows, for the basketball. And the basketball is actually our destination, our goal. And the reason that I put it in here is because I think something that happens that if you're not familiar with is the use of the backpack. So what I mean is we don't actually want this code here to be for the basketball. We actually want it to be for the starfish. So what we can do is we don't have to go through and delete all of this code. Okay, we don't. What we can do is, you can see that I have this highlighted here. It's all kind of highlighted in yellow, and we can just drag this down to our backpack just like so, and watch what happens. It'll copy this code and put it right down here. And now I can go over here to my starfish, and I can drop this right in here just like so, and there it is. And we actually have the code that we need. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to head back to my basketball, and I'm going to clean this up here. And really what we just need to do is we just need to take this from the forever down, and we just need to get rid of it. That's really what we need to do. And so all we're going to do here is we're going to come back to the basketball of what happens when we actually reach it. But we're just going to keep this just like so at this point in time. And let's go back to the starfish and get this dialed in. So now that we have this code, I can drop my backpack down and hide. The only thing that we need to change in here is this go to 0, 0 coordinates, because we actually don't want him to go there. And so if this is where we're going to start on our spiral, just like so, when we go to run this, we need to get our starfish to that point. And so what I can do is I can drag him right here. And I can also tell that he's too large. I'm going to have to make him a little bit smaller. So I'm going to try 30. And then I'm going to look at what these coordinates are down here. I can see -6 for x and -91 for y. So I'm going to try that here and just see where he ends up in this code as I shrink him a little bit. And we're just going to take a seat up. He's still too small or big. We have to make sure that he is actually completely within the maze, because if he touches the black, eventually in our game, he'll get kicked out. So I might keep that. Actually, I might make him 10 just to make him a little bit smaller and easier to navigate. There we go. Perfect. And so what we have now then is I should be able to control him with my keyboard. I can see that I can move him here accordingly, which is nice. And when I stop, it's going to move him back there. And I might just put him point in the direction of 90. Let's see if that puts him back the way I want. There we go. Perfect. Just like so. So now that we have those controls for our starfish, and then our sprite for our maze, our spiral, is going to actually start to begin to turn when it receives game begin. So we've got that is there. Our basketball is good. And now we've just got to take care of get this bad boy moving when we get rocking and rolling here. So what we need to do here is get this speed cruising for us. So we have yet to define what the maze speed is going to be. We don't have that listed here anywhere in our code. And so we've got here again for our spiral. We're moving the coordinates to 0. We're setting it so it'll always reset, which is good. When it receives the game begin broadcast signal, it's going to begin to turn those degrees. All right. And now we just need to get that code in there. And we're going to do that here with our starfish. So our starfish here is the controls for him to move with our mouse controls. We're going to head here, and we're actually then going to put in this block right here. And we're going to set the maze speed right now. And we're going to set, let's see, spiral speed here. And we're going to make it 0.25 is what we're going to do. And then we're going to head down here to control. We're going to throw in a forever block. And then a if block again. And what's going to happen is if fish is just plain touching, and we want to make this black, so we can go to the dropper here. If touching black, we're going to kick it back to its start, which is this go to block right here. So it's going to go back here to the beginning. All right. There. And then we're also going to put in if we're touching we're going to say the basketball. I don't know why I keep saying apple. If we're touching the basketball, we're also going to go back to the beginning of the spiral, but we're going to change the speed of the spiral by 0.25. So the spiral is actually going to go faster. This is one way to level up within a level. We could actually program this to go to a whole different diagram that you want to design, which you can see in the previous programs that we've done. So maybe you want to create a different design, but in this case, it's going to use the same spiral over and over. It's just going to go faster. And the last thing we need to do is add in a code here. So we have, if we touch black, our little guy here, our starfish, is going to go back to start, but our spiral isn't. So we need to put in a broadcast signal here. So we're going to broadcast a new one, and we're going to call this game restart. It's going to broadcast game restart. So now if we go back here, when I receive game restart, we're just going to duplicate this, drag this down. So now when I run this, if I touch black, it's going to, see how it's highlighted? It's going to send everything back the way we go. So we've got that, which is good. Actually, we'll keep this down here. Our basketball is in good shape. We just want to, what did we code in here? We said if touching basketball, it's going to reset back there. And then we're going to broadcast a new level. We can broadcast here. I'm going to call this the next level. So if we're touching the basketball, it's going to send our starfish back to start, change the spiral speed by 0.25. Actually, let's just do this. Let's throw this broadcast right here to next level. And then what we'll do then is we'll go here to the spiral. When I receive next level, we are going to do this little block here again. And we're also going to change the speed by 0.25. There we go. Alright. So now if we go to run this, and I click start, there we go, it starts to move. Ah, we're getting there, we're getting there. So you can start to see how intricate this is, and you can also start to see how you can develop some really crafty levels as you go through by using just these simple commands. Now the way that you can extend this is, is by using the makey makey or a microbit and creating your own controller. And we could take a look at that in terms of how do we make a controller. The makey makey can be simply just using Play-Doh as the joysticks. You could create something more advanced using cardboard and actually creating like an arcade analog joystick and push buttons. You can go to Adafruit, actually buy legit arcade controls and do it that way. With the microbit, you can control this with the accelerometer like we did in some of the previous builds. So as you move the microbit and tilt it to the right and left and up and down, you can control your sprite that way. There's a lot of cool ways in which we can scale our projects accordingly. So I just want to make sure that we get to the end here. So I'm going to change this color for the sake of this video because obviously I'm not very good at talking and playing. I'm going to make this white. That way I can kind of bypass the system. And if I hit this, you can see now it's going to go faster. I don't know if you can tell that now. But every time I get to the basketball, it's going to pick up speed. So you can see how this can become challenging really pretty quick here. As you kind of work your way through, you'd have to really, I might need to adjust my movement of my starfish. You can see that I'm not moving as fast as the spiral. So eventually, once I get good at this, I'm going to realize I probably need to make this like 2, not just 1s, and things like that. But you can kind of play with it accordingly. So now that we have this rocking and rolling, your challenge now is to create new levels, add different power-ups, things like that, which we can do in future video, create a joystick, all this good stuff. This is where your learning comes into play. Alright guys, I hope you found this helpful. As always, stay awesome.